Today, you will hear from Honorable Michael Uyghur, the Minister for Community Safety for Saskatchewan. He's here to speak about the provincial response to the lobstick fire and fire bans within the province. He will begin with opening statements, and then we will move to questions from the media. Please feel free to cut clips, quote, as you need, but please do not live stream this. We will turn it over to questions as soon as the minister is done. And I will turn it over to you now, Minister. Oh, I think you're on mute, Minister.
Yep. Okay, thank you everyone for attending this briefing this afternoon. As mentioned, I'm the Minister of Community Safety and also the Minister responsible for the Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency. I'm currently here in La Ronge, Saskatchewan at the Forest Fire Management Center, and came in this morning to make sure I was fully briefed on the situation along with some other meetings in the city today. So I'll move on to what we're dealing with at hand today. So due to current conditions and the extreme fire risk in the province, the Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency is implementing a fire ban. This ban will encompass a large portion of central and southern Saskatchewan. In particular, the fire ban includes all Crown lands south of Highway 55 at the Alberta border to Junction Highway 155, Highway 155 at Junction Highway 55 to Junction 165, and Highway 165 at Junction Highway 155 to Junction Highway 106, and Highway 106 at Junction Highway 165 to the Manitoba border. And the SPSA will be putting out a map for everyone to be able to take a look at. This fire ban includes provincial parks and provincial recreation sites within the boundary. The fire ban prohibits any open fires, controlled burns, and fireworks in the designated boundary. And this fire ban also prohibits the use of ATVs and UTVs in the provincial forest, with the exception of bona fide commercial operators. The ban also includes all lands within the districts, including but not limited to resort subdivisions, northern settlements, and titled and leased properties within the fire ban area. This does not include rural municipalities or incorporated municipalities which require their own fire ban. At this time, implementing a fire ban is a necessary action to reduce the risk of wildfires to residents, communities, and other resources. The primary cause of wildfires at this time of year is human activity. We strongly remind the public that human-caused fires are preventable. In Saskatchewan, human-caused wildfires typically start in accessible areas near communities and roads. So we encourage people to take simple actions like not driving a vehicle on dry grass, drowning campfires until embers are cool, and talking to young children about fire safety. The SPSA encourages all other municipalities, rural municipalities, and communities to examine fire risks in their area and to consider implementing consistent fire bans to prevent unwanted human-caused wildfires. I would also like to clarify a few things regarding fire bans across the province. Although the SPSA may restrict burning in all rural municipalities in extreme circumstances, it only restricts burning in the areas that it is responsible to manage under legislation. When this occurs, it generally applies to large geographic areas with similar hazards. The SPSA reminds residents and visitors to always be aware of when and where open burning is permitted in Saskatchewan to help prevent wildfires. Local jurisdictions are responsible for restricting burning in their area of responsibility if they pass a fire restriction bylaw. These jurisdictions tend to be the most informed about the fire risk in their area and their ability to respond to wildfires. Please make sure to check with your local authority or the interactive fire ban map on the SPSA's website to see if any burning restrictions are currently in effect. And if you're unsure, my suggestion would be to not burn. I would also turn my attention to the lobstick fire. This fire is located southwest of Saskatoon, and the fire is currently reaching the size of 13,000 hectares. This fire was reported on the afternoon of May 26th, and the SPSA dispatched crews to the fire within 20 minutes. I also want to express my concern to the individuals that have been evacuated due to this fire, lost property, and also my concern to those impacted in the forestry industry that are facing lost revenues. SPSA personnel, including Type 1 and Type 2 crews, have been assigned to this fire. They are working alongside local fire departments and the SPSA emergency response team members. Additional resources, including heavy equipment, helicopter, and air tanker support, have been actioned to this fire for multiple days. Multiple dozer guards have been established, and some crews continue to set up sprinkler units, which we call value protection units. We will continue working on further updates on this fire as this event proceeds. Anyone who spots a wildfire can call 1-800-667-9660, dial 911, or contact their closest SPSA Forest Protection Area office. You can also find an interactive fire ban map, frequently asked questions, fire risk maps, and fire prevention tips at saskpublicsafety.ca. Thank you and stay safe.
Thank you, Minister. We will now turn it over to questions from the media. I will ask media members to identify themselves and which outlet they are from. Please use the raised hand function. I see some of you already have your hands up, or put your question in the chat. If you do have a question after the event is over, please send it to media.spsa@gov.sk.ca. When you do ask a question, I ask that you please turn on your camera and unmute yourself. And when you're done, please turn off your camera and unmute yourself. So we will go to the first one. Christopher, you're first.
Thank you very much, Chris Van Briekel with Global News here. Question on the size of the lobstick fire. I just want to clarify first, please don't count this as my question. Minister, you said 13,000 hectares. Just clarifying that that's the right number of zeros, because on the SPSA interactive map, it's saying 1,300.
I think I may have misspoken there actually as I was reading that. And thank you for that clarification. I have some SPSA officials on the call, but I believe it is 1,300 hectares.
Okay, if we can get that clarified 100%, that'd be appreciated. My first question would be, do we know it was human caused according to the interactive map. Do we know what that human cause was for this lobstick fire?
Well, actually on the lobstick fire, just recently on a phone call with the president of the SPSA, Marlo Pritchard, and they did send a fire investigator out. Initial reports were that it was human caused. Now after the investigation, it appears that it was likely a lightning strike. There was a tree found that had been hit by lightning. And so again, the initial information we were receiving and even from people in the area suspected it was human caused by an ATV. Now we're receiving information that they have come across a tree that was struck by lightning. Again, I think why it was so believable that it'd be human caused is because we recognize that the majority of fires at this time in Saskatchewan are being human caused.
Okay, and my follow-up is, do we know if any structures have been destroyed or damaged by the lobstick fire?
I have information that 2 structures have been damaged, but I don't have details on the value of those structures at this time.
Do we know if they were homes, sheds?
I think they were outbuildings, yeah. So not homes. I have clarification, not someone's residence.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Just for clarification, our website does say 13,000, but we will work to clarify that. just that misunderstanding there. Okay, Ashira, sorry if I did not pronounce that correctly. You're next.
Ashwarya at CBC. I definitely wanted to get, sorry, I'm not clear. Is it 1,300 or 13,000 hectares?
It would be clear the entire area of the fire is actually 13,000. I just have my assistant in the office with me confirming 13,000 was accurate.
13,000. And you've already answered the other question that I had about the human versus lightning. And so my question is now just how many people have had to evacuate? Is this a mandatory evacuation or is it more of an alert? If I could get some clarity on that.
Individuals from one community. The name of the community, I may have it here. Lily Plain, I believe, as individuals from the community of Lily Plain have been evacuated. I don't have a number of how many individuals have been evacuated.
Okay, thank you. We do have a chat question from Neil Bellinger with CJWW asking how many rural municipalities have implemented fire bans, and can you confirm the exact location of the lobstick fire? What I can tell you, Neil, is that information is on our website. You can take a look at how many rural municipalities have implemented a fire ban right on the interactive fire ban map, and there is a PDF version as well. And the exact location of the lobstick fire can also be found on that website too. Okay, we'll turn things over to Jacob from CJME.
Hey, Jacob Bamhauer with 980 CGME here. I'm just wondering, with the rain in the forecast, is that expected to help with the fires or anything like that?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Jacob. I haven't checked the forecast recently. This morning, it didn't look like there was much rain in the forecast, so maybe that's changed. But of course, rain is always a welcome factor if there's a wildfire, and we can't count on it happening though, and so that's why the crews are actively fighting this fire.
Awesome, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, that was the initial round of questions, so we'll loop back to Christopher. You have a follow-up?
Thank you very much. Chris Vandenbrekel with Global News. Minister, we heard some conversation about the possibility of the lobstick fire having spotted across the North Saskatchewan River. Has that been the case, and how are fire crews dealing with that?
Yes, you're correct, Christopher. That lobstick fire did pass over the river this morning. I received that update, and again, crews are actively addressing the spots where it crossed the river, and active ongoing operations really focused on that area and preventing the spread of this fire any further to the north.
What have been the challenges weather-wise with fighting this fire? And, kind of related to Jacob's, are conditions improving at all? And are firefighters being able to get in closer to the flames to get a handle on this?
Yeah, so from talking to some of the individuals with the Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency, we confirmed that the heat of the fire plus just the weather, temperatures in almost the mid-30s, did affect some of the dozer work they were doing, as the dozers just couldn't get into some of the spots. And in fact, they had to pull some of the dozers back temporarily and then sort of create a new plan before they go back in. And that's one thing I'd like to point out is the public may at times see that there's equipment around these fires and it doesn't appear to being used. Well, there's usually a good reason for that. And in fact, they have to reorganize their plans and then go back with a plan. And so that was the circumstance that some of the high temperature conditions have caused so far. Smoke also always a factor and causing some issues with being able to get an aerial attack in, or even see as the temperature drops, the smoke tends to drop closer to the ground, and then it causes the fire crews on the ground difficulties as to where they can get in and attack that fire.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ashwara, you're next.
I understand the leaf lane is under an evacuation alert. Is that mandatory, or is that just an advisory? And are there any other communities that are under risk or under an evacuation alert or advisory, or potentially at risk of having to prepare for evacuation?
Yeah, the information I have right now is Lily Plain is the only community under an evacuation alert. Again, it's alerting people that they should consider evacuating. It's not mandatory to my knowledge at this time, but making sure that they are aware of what's going on, and that's why we post those alerts so that the public can make their decision and make sure they stay safe.
And just to follow up, so Duck Lake community is not under an alert, or they haven't been advised to be prepared for any sort of evacuation, and they're safe?
Well, we know that Duck Lake is close to the location, but the information I have is that Lily Plain right now is the only one under alert. I think the distance I have, communities less than 20 kilometers are Lily Plain, McDowell, Duck Lake, and Beardy's, Okanasis. So those are the communities that are in close proximity. Again, I'd encourage anyone to take a look at the interactive map and plot where they're located in relation to that fire, and use the utmost caution.
All right. We had a question from Karen Briere, but I think that was just answered by yourself, Minister. That she does have another question, however. Can you speak to any farms and or ranches that may have been affected by the fire?
Yeah, I can briefly speak to that, and thanks, Karen, for the question. My understanding is that there's some ag land that has been affected by this, and one of the recent briefings I had when I inquired about this is that some farmers have been affected, and some ranchers have had to move their cattle to different locations just to avoid. I'm not sure if it's the smoke or the risk of the fire coming their direction, but some farmers and ranchers are having to take some steps to protect their assets.
Okay, great. Christopher, we'll go back to you one last time here.
All right, thank you. You addressed this a little bit in your opening statement, Minister, but the reeve of the RM of Duck Lake expressing a lot of frustration over the amount of time it's taken the SPSA to enact this provincial lands fire ban in the forests. Can you speak to why that process took all week to put into place? What considerations are there, and why was it not in earlier?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the question, Christopher. I've been working with the SPSA and having discussions around the fire ban, and understanding myself the process for it. And there's sort of a risk table that they go through, and with the SPSA, their factors that they look at are different than the factors that RMs look at. In the SPSA's case, we had an area that is high risk for wildfires, but as you're aware, quite few wildfires actively going on in the province of Saskatchewan, so adequate resources available to address wildfires as they come up. And that's one of the factors the SPSA looks at before imposing a fire ban. And we don't impose a fire ban, or in this case, a fire ban and an ATV, UTV ban lightly. But through discussions and watching the weather forecast and realizing it didn't look like there's much rain in the forecast, and the high temperatures seem to be persisting here, we're coming off the absolute worst wildfire season we've had in the province of Saskatchewan. And so we have to take this very seriously, which we are, and we're having to take the serious step of imposing a fire ban now.
You, as the minister, you have a weigh in on policy when it comes to situations like this. Is this a case where you start thinking to yourself, maybe we're being a little bit too reactive? I mean, we all saw the weather forecast this week. We saw the high 30s temperatures that we we're going to be dealing with. We knew it was going to be hot. We knew it was going to be dry. Why are we not being more proactive on a situation like this and putting a fire ban in earlier?
I'd say we're being proactive today by putting in the fire ban, and a fire ban wouldn't necessarily have stopped this fire from happening. And so we have to take all those factors into consideration. Obviously, this fire has occurred because there are areas of the province where we're under an extreme fire risk, and the conditions are very well suited for wildfires to begin. And so again, taking all that information in, taking a look at the weather forecasting, that's why today we're bringing in a fire ban.
Okay, thank you, Minister. I'll open it up to one last round of questions here. We only got a couple more minutes with the Minister. Okay, not seeing anything. Thank you for your time, Minister. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Ashwara, you got in just under the wire. I think we'll let you go ahead.
Sorry, okay, I'll make it quick. I'll just ask about the other fires. Are there 6 active? Any other fires that you think are concerning? And just a little bit going to the weekend, what are you expecting into the weekend and next week?
Yeah, you're right. Just before I got on the call, I also pulled up the website just to see what they had updated recently. So we're sitting at 6 active fires. I think 2 of those are contained, 2 not contained. 1 is ongoing assessment, and 1 is protecting values. And so talking to the SPSA staff here in La Ronge, I'm finding out, maybe just to give you an update on what they're doing. We are concerned. We're in an immediate, threat of wildfire in this province. We're in very high risk. The sign as you come to La Ronge, it's letting everyone know we're in a high risk situation here. And so they're doing active patrols as well with their aircraft. The helicopter left when I first got here with the crew on it to go, and they also have a plane that's up doing surveillance as well. So we're really concerned this weekend, and I'll just end this with again, hopefully impressing upon everyone in the province of Saskatchewan that we really need to err on the side of caution regarding the wildfire risk that we're facing right now. And please be very, very careful. And if you're unsure if you're in a fire ban area, assume you're in a fire ban area. We need to protect our province, and we need to avoid human-caused wildfires. They're very costly. And with that, I just ask everyone to hopefully have a very safe weekend. And thank you all for your attendance today to help get this message out.